Hello and welcome on this May edition of Primetime Watchmaking in the News, and the good news is that we have plenty to share with you today. May has been good to us, or let's say interesting, that's more appropriate, but indeed quite a few product launches, some very interesting and rather spectacular business news, our quick wrist check, surprise, surprise, what to expect in June, and I also have to admit that I'm getting seriously all nervous as we have crossed the 99,000 subscriber mark just a few days ago, and therefore we might indeed well hit the 100k mark this month. And since this is for once sincerely my birthday this June, well, I couldn't dream of any better present than this. But let's be very Swiss and conservative, let's wait till we get there, who knows what could happen. But still feeling like a little kid regarding this incredible milestone. Can't thank you enough for all your positive energy, kind words and comments, definitely gets me cracked up. But I have another little thing to ask you. So as mentioned in the last prime time, we would really like to mark this special occasion in a special way. Well, actually special ways, plural. And a party sounds like a good start, so we would let the summer pass by and do this in mid-September, Thursday the 12th of September, here in Geneva to be precise, but I'll come back to this at the end of this edition. So what I really wanted to ask you is the following. So if you appreciate what we do, well, we would be delighted to know about it, on top of your always very welcome comments, of course, but to do this with a video. Yes, we are indeed all about video here, so it doesn't need to be fancy production work, selfie mode with your phone will do just fine. Doesn't need to be long, but it would be really cool and would serve the purpose of that party. So if you're willing to do so, please just send your video to info@thewatches.club, and constructive criticism is also very welcome. More info on the website. And the other good news is that for those participating, well, we'll organize a special raffle with some special prizes, and don't worry, the nature of your comments won't have any impact on the hand of luck. And this leads me to a final point before diving into proper watchmaking, because for our good patrons supporting us, and therefore all of you, well, we'll also finally organize this month our first special watchmaking goodie raffle, including such lots as this, as Walter Lange's memoir, a Grobel Force loop, for instance, a Grobel Force handbook, Tag Heuer handbook, a Harry Winston handbook, and look at this exquisite set of Audemars Piguet leather pouches. So, well, if you want to participate, just press the link and go on our Patreon page. Okay, and before talking about this rather impressive business news, which tells quite a lot about the state of the industry, let's now talk new watches, and there were a few. So, for the 50th anniversary of the iconic square Monaco watch, Tag Heuer celebrated this in style during the Monaco Grand Prix weekend with the introduction of a special limited edition of 169 pieces called the 1969-1979 edition, meaning that we will see tributes to the 4 next decades later on this year for sure. So this watch naturally takes some design codes of the 70s with this green dial, actually quite difficult to properly describe this color, with grey chronograph and small seconds sub-dials, a large red chrono hand, and comes in a 39mm case, and is equipped with a Tag Heuer caliber 11 beating at 4 Hz. So something interesting to note with the Monaco is that when it came out in 1969, well, success didn't really hit straight away, and it's really the release of the fantastic movie Le Mans in 1971, where you'll see Steve McQueen wearing this watch, which kind of triggered strong demand, and it's an image that is often reused in Tag Heuer's iconography, and for a good reason. It's just a powerful image. And apart from that, well, this film is really quite something. Rhythm is from another era, motor racing from another era, but I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. It's kind of one of those whiskey and cigar type of moment. Okay, next watch, and Jacques Hédreau introduced a very interesting mono-push chronograph in its Grande Seconde collection. It's a complication that was indeed missing, but obviously the big risk was that it would seriously alter this watch's distinctive classical and pure design with its H-shape dials. But I have to say that they managed to pull it off very nicely by off-centering the hour and minute dial around the 2 o'clock position and placed all the chrono indications at 7 o'clock while keeping the date indication, it's a retrograde date mind you, also around that sub-dial. So this watch comes in the standard size 43mm steel case with 3 different executions, silver dial and blue hands, blue with silver hands, and my favorite, the gray and silver hand version. But they also introduced a fancier version coming in a red gold case and with an enamel dial limited to 88 pieces. And with this one, well, the sub-dials are centered on the vertical axis, obviously a bit more expensive. So Omega continues to surf on the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and after the special and pretty impressive gold Speedmaster introduced a couple of months ago, with its, burgundy bezel, well, Omega launched a new steel version limited to 6,969 pieces. Yes, that's a very exclusive limited edition, and comes with the gold and ceramic bezel, engraving of Buzz Aldrin stepping down the lunar excursion model on the 9 o'clock sub-dial, and the number 11 appearing with applied indices, reference to Apollo 11, of course. So since the actual true anniversary date of this major achievement is on the 20th of July, well, I wouldn't be too surprised to hear more from Omega around that date. And just as a little side story, I was recently in Hong Kong and Shanghai, met some cool collectors there, had a great and interesting time. Also visited the first Audemars Piguet lounge, an interesting concept to be repeated shortly in other Asian cities. But I wanted to say, and come back to Omega, well, all Omega shops seen there, and there are many, well, all of them had this watch in display with some proper point-of-sale merchandise capitalizing on this moon thing. And I saw many people take pictures of themselves in front of these stores. So the magic of the moon landing really works. And Omega are obviously right of using as much as possible this USP. And okay, one last little thing before getting back to new watches. Well, of course, when I was in Hong Kong, I had to walk around this incredible city, had to walk around the local watch scene, and there are just so many brand boutiques. I mean, it's just crazy. Okay, they felt often quite empty though, but some serious size multi-brand boutiques too, second-hand ones. And some more pretty strange one. Just wanted to share this rather crazy image with you. Yeah, kind of no comment, I guess. Okay, next watch. And a couple of years ago, I had met American watchmaker Roland G. Murphy, founder of the RGM brand, during the New York Watch Time event, and saw some pretty decent looking watches there. Well, now the brand introduced their first open work timepiece with the PS 801 skeleton, using the brand's first in-house caliber called the 801, a caliber which was actually launched already a bit more than 10 years ago. So this hand-wound watch comes in a polished steel case, and I have to admit that I would be very interested in visiting them and show you guys a bit of American watchmaking. Well, we do like these travels and show that watchmaking is not only Swiss. And this is a perfect transition to briefly talk about the new timepiece introduced by German brand Moritz Grossmann. This watch is called the Hamatic, and it's the brand's first self-winding movement, but a pretty original one, as instead of using a regular rotor to fuel up the barrel, it uses a hammer-like mechanism, something seen with the very first self-winding watches developed some 200 years ago, noticeably by Breguet himself. So it does look very original. The movement's architecture is completely different than what we're used to, and the good news is that we will soon head up back to Glashütte to understand this a bit better. Yes, we do like to travel. Okay, next watches, and now we're going a bit more in crazy territory. So first, Haute introduced a pretty daring version of its HL2 timepiece, and I guess that if you want to create some buzz, well, this is a way to go. Okay, you see, it works, I'm talking about it. Anyhow, the HL2 already goes back also a little bit in time, was introduced some 10 years ago, and has a very unique movement with a central retrograde minute and a belt-like hour indicator mechanism which sets itself in motion when the minute hand returns to zero. And at the same time, the mobile gear train and regulating organ also kind of accompanies this movement by rotating slightly on itself. Well, yes, it's a very complicated timepiece with a complicated case, with these kind of side windows. just complicate. Well, whoa, there's just more than 500 components in this watch, so not your common watch, and wearing an HL2 is already some kind of statement, but with this one presented now, well, let's presume you clearly be the center of attention, and I guess some intrepid people are precisely looking for that. So like I said, daring and a good talking piece when you are a pretty small brand on the independent watchmaking scene. But just for your understanding, it's the same smart team from H. Moser that are behind Haute Lance now, and we know how well they have done by being a little bit subversive in order to gain exposure with H. Moser. So when you don't have the huge marketing budgets, well, this is a way to go, and I let you be the judge of that. Okay, next crazy timepiece, and yes, we can go even further with the Histoire de Tourbillon 10 by Harry Winston. This is a quadruple tourbillon featuring only hour and minute indication. So dial is found at the center, tourbillon in each corner. First, the differential averaging out the two tourbillons found on the left, same on the right, and then the central differential averaging the full beast. So almost 700 components in this crazy machine, and 18 will be made in white gold, 18 in rose gold, and a pièce unique in a special proprietary Harry Winston platinum will also be produced. So this timepiece is of course much more than a timepiece, it's a demonstration of technicity, and it will be the very last one produced in this Histoire de Tourbillon collection by the brand. So by the way, I mean the case is 53 millimeter wide, 40 in height, and 17.6 in thickness. So there too, I doubt you wouldn't get, you would get unnoticed wearing this. Okay, let's make a short pause from new watches and let's do a quick wrist check. I mentioned the brand before, so today I'm wearing something acquired a few months ago with this 70s Jacquet-Droz. Yes, quite different from the Jacquet-Droz we know today. And nothing too special about it, just like the blue dial, you know I like blue, but I like the size, I like the case with these old school lugs, the glass box, but one thing I really don't like is this too small crown, as when I wind it, it always feels pretty awkward to do so, just hurts your fingers, difficult to reach, not very practical, but obviously fits a bit better the overall design of the piece. Okay, pause ended, let's now talk about HYT, and I really think that they found their thing with the introduction of the H0 a couple of years ago, with a quite sober and distinct design solution, really highlighting the particularity of this brand and their fluidic way of indicating time. It's original and efficient without being over the top, and they now introduce two variations with the khaki and black fluid version, and I think that both of them look pretty cool. At the time, we had produced quite a few videos regarding their capillary technology developed to display the hour indication, and please feel free to check them out if you want to know more about it. Okay, now no more product launches, but some rather impressive business news. There are a few financial institutions that assess the watchmaking industry, you know, how much this, how much that, who weighs what. But obviously most figures are not public, hence the difficulty of pulling proper numbers. So two of these players are Morgan Stanley and Swiss private bank Vontobel. They have been doing so for quite some years, and their numbers are pretty reliable, not always exactly the same. And what came out of their 2018 analysis made public quite recently confirms what we can all feel with this clear domination of the market by only a few of these power brands. But then there is one brand which clearly stands out, and by 100 miles, and that's the crown. So apparently, and this gets really pretty crazy, but Rolex accounts by itself of 22% of the global turnover of watches sold. So for all the watches sold around the world, 20% of the overall value is sold by one brand. How impressive is this considering the hundreds and hundreds of brands existing? And seriously, what can other ones do against this absolute demonstration of pure domination by the crown? So no one comes close, and it's just an amazing case study. So for instance, I don't know many brands where you can be a billionaire, wear a Rolex, or let's say a sub to be original, have your chauffeur wearing the same one, and there is no problem with this. It's of course a luxury object, but produced in the million figure range, and still no issue. And they continue to enjoy bigger growth rate of their business like no other brand, either from the big groups, for instance. It's just super impressive, an oddity almost. But this trend of concentration of power is actually seen globally. For instance, top 100 companies in the US now account for 50% of the US GNP. And 25 years ago, top 100 companies accounted for 30%. So yes, we see this trend elsewhere. But for sure, Rolex can be more compared to Google in respect of the search engine scene, a real ogre and a clear dominant player. And as a brand, saying that you want to compete against Rolex is just as unrealistic as saying that you're going to compete against Google. So personally, I would really like to understand a bit better how these financial institutions come up with these numbers, and hopefully will happen one day because it really interests me and I think it would make a good video report. Okay, so now what to expect in June? Well, if you drop by Geneva between the 18th and the 21st of June, you will be able to attend this show we like so much, the EPHG. That is a trade fair of the suppliers of the industry, and it's always fascinating to meet new people there, and especially some of their developments that we will see in a few years in some of the watches we will talk about in the future. So this fair is open to the public, but of course it's a bit more of a B2B type of event, but still very interesting regardless. And that's about it for June actually. Okay, so coming quickly back on what I mentioned in the intro of this prime time and this 100K milestone, well, with my small team, we would really like to host a little party here on the Thursday, the 12th of September here in Geneva, in the club, of course, and some other places. So if you are interested, please go to our website and we'll have a form where you can notify your interest. And Loïc, our very own watchmaker here on the Watches TV, will follow up with this and give you information if we can help with any logistical issues, good hotel deals for instance, and we'll have further info in the next prime time. Okay, so this is it for this edition. Thanks for watching. Remember that if you want to participate at our little goodie raffle, well, this is a little privilege reserved for our good patrons, and now it's time for a massive Viva Watchmaking to you. All the very best. See you real soon.